Welcome to my homemade studio. My name is Peter Alkemer and I have an online brand called the Student Success Coach. And as part of that brand, I do online coaching courses, community, I run webinars, I have online teaching programs, and I have a lot of other content more related to business, etc. But in the last year or so, I've put a lot more effort into my brand called the Student Success Coach. And to take things to the next level in 2021, I decided to build myself a studio in a corner of my garage. And a lot of people do this, and a lot of people have been doing this for many years, successful YouTubers, for example. But I definitely needed a space that I could come into and that was properly and fully set up and kitted out, that I could sit down and record and have as much of the right setup as I needed to, audio, lighting, etc. Now, I did not spend a lot of money. I do things for as low a price as possible. I do woodworking, so I was fortunate that I could do a lot of the construction myself, etc. But the purpose of this video is just to show you exactly what I did, how easy it is, and maybe you don't have everything you need, but hopefully I can teach you some of that, and you can maybe learn a few tips and tricks from this video and apply it in your own setting if you're thinking about doing the same thing as well. So the rest of this video will show you the steps I took and what this corner of my garage used to look like. I had some shelves over here, and I've got shelves behind the curtain over there, but it was completely different, and the rest of the video will take you through that transformation. But before we get there, maybe just to tell you a little bit about the studio itself. So the first and the biggest project was to transform this wall over here. So what I did was I mounted these boards up against the wall over here so that I can put some lighting. With a studio, what I've learned from other online digital creators is that you need to be quite flexible in your studio, but there are some basic requirements that you need. So one of those was a physical space, and I built this workbench over here out of some 20mm plywood, and I mounted that up against the wall. And then I also just created some shelving at the top there for extra storage. So transforming this wall over here where I could then sit, that was the most important thing. And then I put this backdrop up here. Now it's professional photographic backdrop material, which I had to just adjust. My daughter actually helped me just sew it so that I could mount it up here, but I can take this down because this still has to be a functioning garage and workshop. Then, as I say, I put a curtain at the back there. Now, one of the big things about studios is sound. So it's still a lot of echo in this garage. I'll probably need to put a lot more dampening in. You'll also see in the video, I just put some carpet tiles down over here so that I don't get noise. You know, you can hear I'm stepping on the tiles, and then I step back on my studio and I've got nice carpet. But for now, it's a dramatic improvement on what I had before. What I had before was on a corner of the dining room table and a corner of the dining room itself. So this is a massive improvement. And I already did 21 courses and about a number of webinars last year doing that. So don't think that you need a studio like this before you get going with creating digital content. Just get going and then work out what you need and take those steps to improve that. Then I just wanted to talk about lighting. So you always need a main light, and I will upgrade my lighting at some point, but that basic lighting has worked for me for all my courses that I've done so far. I've got 15,000 students on 21 courses that I only started 6 months ago, so that lighting has been fine. And then I've turned it off now, but there's a backlight just to illuminate this backdrop over here, so you take the shadow away from the main light projecting onto the back. And then you might also need a secondary light at some point. I'll add that in as well. And then, of course, all the basic normal equipment. I've got headphones, I've got microphone. Bought myself a nice C922 a Logitech webcam. But as I say, all of this stuff was the sort of entry level. Now, if you follow people that do this for a living, this is my side hustle. They advise you just to start at the basic levels, not to spend too much money on equipment. Don't buy fancy things. Work out what you need. You can see at the back there a boom arm with a pop filter. That pop filter will do with a decent microphone is it will prevent the popping noises if you're talking into it. I do podcasts, I do webinars, I do courses. I still need to learn a lot about audio and lighting for studios, I'm an absolute beginner. Effectively, what will happen is I'll sit here and I'll mount the camera. I'm using the tripod actually right now to record this video, but I will then have a teleprompter at the back there. Then I'll have the camera mounted on the tripod over here. I'll be able to manage the teleprompter, and I'll have the boom arm coming here. I'll have the backdrop illuminated behind me, and then that's my sort of what they call talking heads video. And then over here is my whiteboard, which I also made. I couldn't find any whiteboards that are in a landscape. They are all in portrait, and you really want a nice landscape view. If you've done any of my courses, you see that I teach a lot from a whiteboard, and so that whiteboard then will obviously be in shot. But obviously now I can leave it set up so that I can quickly turn to that and teach as I need to. Or standing up like I am, I just grab a marker quickly, go up to the flip chart, go up to the whiteboard, and then explain the concepts visually that I'm trying to teach into camera. So yeah, and then also just one thing that I've learned over the years of setting up workspaces, whether it's for my children or in the studies that I've had over the years, make sure you've got a lot of electrical plug points. So set those up ahead of time so that you don't have cables and extension cords running all over the place. It just gets messy. But again, do these things on a budget so that you can know exactly what you need as you go. And maybe just one quick thing to mention, I have had to just lift my laptop up to get the right level for the webcam. And I've been using my woodworking books to do that. I thought that was quite symbolic, which was a previous project of mine. And I have a lot of woodworking how-to videos as well. But I'm going to mainly use this studio for my Student Success Coach brand, which, as I say, is community coaching, podcasts, courses, and lots more. And with this studio, I'm going to be able to take it to the next level. Thanks for watching. And the rest of this video is going to be all about the steps that I took to set it up. And please subscribe, and you'll be able to check out all of the awesome content that I'll be creating from my new studio. Right, so the project for the next couple of days is to build a small little studio over here. And this is my workshop that I use for woodworking. But these shelves over here, I'm going to take those shelves down, move those, and then I'm going to build a workspace along here. Okay, so I've moved the shelves across here, and that's left the space over there for the workspaces. Right, so some progress with the studio.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Right. So just a quick update on the YouTube studio. We put shelves up just so that it's multi-purpose, and then I need to get the light up over here for screencasting. I'm probably going to have another light when I do my whiteboard teaching, and I've got a backdrop over here that I'm going to mount a rail along the back over here, and then drop that behind with a bit of a backlight to illuminate it as a nice backdrop. So, good progress. I put this curtain up over here so that I can draw this along here, and it doesn't feel like I'm in a garage, and it also is going to be good for the sound, so I don't get too much echo. So that's the curtain on the side, and then up here I'm installing this rod for the backdrop. So the backdrop that will be in the back of the filming.
Hi there, my name is Juliet and I'm helping Dad with the backdrop for his project. So basically what I've done is I've made a hen here for the second rod to go into, so that it is long enough to fit the poles, 2.5 meters. So I'm just doing the hem for that now.
So I just wanted to give you a bit of a behind the scenes look at the studio. Still quite a few things to do, but this is a good milestone just to share this video so that you can see everything I've done. And maybe I'll do an updated one in a couple of months when I've got a few more things sorted, but really it's fully functional now, and I can use it, and I'm looking forward to using it. So just going to quickly show you a couple of other things. So let's just zoom around here. So I actually use my son's game controller to manage the teleprompter. There's certain teleprompter apps that you can use to adjust the scrolling speed as you using a teleprompter. So I script my courses, but with this PlayStation controller, I can manage the speed. I can stop and start it quite nicely. So very, very powerful. Obviously got my computer, iPad, keyboard, extra peripherals. I think I showed you or mentioned the C922 webcam. Now that will mainly be for screencasts. So when I'm demonstrating or presenting slides and going through bullet points or visual material on the screen, I will still be showing myself, but just in a small corner on the side. And the software I use for that is Screencast-O-Matic. I think I mentioned the microphone. I've just got a simple lapel mic that I use, which mainly goes into Apple devices with a lightning connector, but there's also a 3.5mm jack that I can connect it into a Windows PC or whichever device that takes a small mini jack. Then this is the tripod that I actually had, and you can see we've parked the car in now, so that fits in quite nicely. This is the tripod, and in actual fact I just made this base because during 2020 the kids all had to do lots of recordings of instruments and have online lessons, obviously with the lockdowns. So I created a nice base here with clamps, and instead of having to mount their iPads on a bookshelf or created at a certain angle, it's always going to fall off and not be the best angle, they just mount their iPad. In fact, let me just show you quickly. You can see that there, and it just gets clamped on the back, and then the kids use that and just move this around to adjust the position, the angle of the iPad on top there, and then of course the normal tripod. And they'll use this studio as well. I'm sure that education is going to stay online, or a large part of it at least. Mentioned the whiteboard. So this is just a fully wooden construction, and let me just show you the back of it here. So very simple, just put a couple of hinges in, and then I bought some standard flip chart paper, and I actually designed it so that the size of it is exactly the size of the flip chart paper, so that when you see me teaching from the whiteboard, it's very clean. There's no borders around it. This is just to hold the paper at the bottom. And as I've mentioned, a lot of my lessons are from the whiteboard. Okay, what else? So I thought, let me just show you then quickly the rail. So the rail is, as I said, just a standard curtain rail that I mounted on the wall over there. You can see the garage door behind there. And if I didn't have this rail, you can see that over there is my trailer. So a lot of course creators talk about having a natural background, which I think is great. But my natural background, if I didn't have this here, would be my trailer at the back over there. And then down the bottom over here, I just wanted to get it a little bit tighter, because you don't want too many folds. This folds will show up on screen. So I just put a couple of clamps down the bottom. They're very cheap clamps, easy to get. And then I bought 2 curtain rods. You can see these curtain rods run in there all the way through. And then the other really thing that I'm so pleased about is these curtains. So if I open up the curtains, You can see I've got my sort of woodworking shelves and everything at the back over there, and it would really feel like I'm working in a garage, which I am working in a garage, but at least it's dual purpose. It just dampens out the sound quite nicely. So I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to show you about the studio. And yeah, I think hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I'll put in the description of this video a few links to people that have helped me and have provided lots of information about other resources, etc. And you too can create a YouTube studio.